Welcome back, Deadites and Ghost Speeders, and if you're new to the channel, I am Oldhead Gaming, and as Evil Dead the game sits in a kind of communication moratorium, and a lull of information is coming out as Saber has crawled back into their non-communicative hole, we now sit in this point where we don't really know what's next for the game. And one of the things they seem to be able to do is produce survivors at an alright rate. And I want to look at one survivor from each one of the 5 that I would like to go. And I want to go with characters that may not be the natural choices. You know, and I think that's one of the things that is they've already shown they're really willing to go off the beaten path for who they decide to make characters, as we've seen characters like the Plague Bringer, which was just the witch who had a couple of lines, much more in the comic books than she ever was in Army of Darkness, and the blacksmith who had a couple of lines, becoming full-fledged survivors and demons in the game. And so they seem like they're willing to make characters may not be the star like Mia Allen was into new survivors. I mean, hell, Ed had one line as a survivor before he was killed off. So, I mean, and he was a launch character. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at one character from all 5. So, 5 new survivors that may come in 2023. And I'm going to tell you what class I think. I'm not going to do full breakdowns because, like, we kind of could see a new class arise. Like, at some point that is possible, as they've done with demons. Every demon seems to be their own individual class with their own individual tree, and they've seen to go that they're trying to make things a little more original with the way they constructed the blacksmith, even though he ended up being a support character. So for me, let's start with Evil Dead 1. And when you're thinking about Evil Dead 1, there's a limited amount of characters. To be honest with you, you already have Scotty, you already have OG Ash, you already have Cheryl, and so that basically leads 2 characters. And Linda would be the obvious choice. Don't get me wrong, she's already the voice of the Kandarian demon, who's both guiding and bitching at you at the same time. She's a great multitasker. But I think the choice for me would be Shelly, Scotty's girlfriend, and I think that would make a lot of sense to bring in her as possibly a support character. I know, we have a ton of support characters. She's the only one I'm going to list on this list as a possible support. Now, Evil Dead 2, for me, is made up of one line, and one line only.
Hey. No trail. Where to now? Father, go! Father, go!
That's right, running out in the woods and screaming, Papa Joe! Now, for me to have that happen, I would need Jake. And I want just Jake running around as a warrior, out there screaming in the woods, Bobby Joe, like that could be his scare. Like, it would make me just so happy. I love Jake. I want to run around as a warrior in nothing but bib overalls and a dog tag and go crazy on demons. Like that, to me, seems like an absolute natural choice. Whew. When it comes to Army of Darkness, I think the natural choice probably would be, and probably the most asked for still, is the Wise Man, and I think he actually is the best choice in general at this point. Like, there's no one else to me who stands out as a character that's worth bringing in. I mean, you could do, like, You Got My Steel, Ted Raimi version, but like I feel like that's not necessary. You could always make that a Chet skin later, so we're gonna go with the Wise Man. I feel like the Wise Man would be an interesting character, and I think he would be an actual leader. Now, that's why I said the only character I was bringing into this grouping as a support character was Shelly from Evil Dead 1. I think absolutely he would be a leader. I think he would make a very good leader. I think the Wise Man's aura would be awesome for everyone to have, and I think it would be a lot of fun. Now, when it comes to Ash versus Evil Dead, there's so many options you win. Like I said, I'm deliberately ignoring Chet and Ruby, who I've talked about ad nauseum on this channel, and I feel like they just don't need to be talked about. So that brings me to who I think should be the character added from Evil Dead. And then, I think the most sense to me would be one of the Williams. And I'm going to kind of split hairs here because I can see the variance right here of why one makes more sense over the other. But I don't care if we go up a generation from Ash or down a generation from Ash. I'm just kind of tied here. But so I'm going to go with both Brandy Williams and Brock Williams. And I think Brandy would be a hunter. I think Brock would be a warrior, and I think they would both be a lot of fun to play. And I'm okay bringing in the entire Williams family. We already have Cheryl, his sister. It makes sense to have their dad, and daughter slash niece as well inside the game. I think the Williams family really needs a little more representation. I mean, granted, we have 4 versions of Ash and Cheryl, so it's not like it's being ignored, but like, let's be honest, that is what this whole thing runs around, is the Williams family. So I'm gonna go with both Brandy and Brock. And finally, that brings us to Evil Dead 2013. And I think the only natural choice, and I think still the best character in the entire movie, was Eric. Eric would be a natural leader. He would fit into the leader category very well. His ability to decipher a book he had just seen, his natural knowledge of languages would make for very well for fighting the Necronomicon. Like, he seems like the natural choice. He had the most depth, in my opinion, of any character inside Evil Dead 2013, and I was sad that he did not make the cut, even though I understood bringing in the Allen siblings first. Like, I get it. I feel like, you know, Mia and David made a lot of sense. They were the natural choices from 2013. But if you're going to go with one other character, I think Eric has to be the one. And there's my 5. Well, technically 6. I kind of cheated a little bit. Just a little bit. But it's my video, so I can do that. And I think that is the characters I would like to see, if they're not going for, like, slam dunks like Chet or Ruby, brought to the game. Like, that is what I want to see from Evil Dead, the game. I want to see characters that make a lot of sense to me personally, and I feel like would really enrich the lore they're already building with the Nobi tapes on these characters in general. Tell me in the comments below, who do you want? Do you think I'm just like kind of pissing in the wind here with the characters I chose? Or are these some of the characters that you would really like to see in Evil Dead, the game? I want to hear your thoughts. As always, thanks for watching, and later, mates.